Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another live trading session with Future 45 Trading, trade signals, and more market analysis, and a whole lot of insight on Forex, commodities, and cryptocurrency. Glad you could join us this evening, and we're going to get started here. I'm going to keep the session a little bit shorter today, I think. I'd like to just run through a couple of pairs here. US dollar index, as always. The Euro GBP, Euro USD, pound dollar. Do a little bit of oil and Bitcoin, of course. And we'll follow up with a little bit of stuff to wrap up here. But I usually do an hour, hour and a half. I think today there's not a whole lot of market moving news events that I think are going to push price around too much. There are a couple, so I'm going to discuss those in a minute here. But I think we'll try and keep the session fairly short. I was looking for a few setups earlier, and I may have found one or two, but we'll wait and see if those things pan out here going forward. So just going to do a quick sound test and make sure you all can hear me, and we will get going in about 30 seconds. So hold on to your socks. Okay, sound check complete. We are good to go. So I am going to start by just discussing real quickly what's on the economic news front coming up here for the week. So you can dial on over to forexfactory.com, pull up the calendar for the week, and see what we got happening here for the week in terms of economic news drivers. So I think, where are we here? Tuesday morning. So there is some yen, Bank of Japan news conference for the yen coming out. So we could see some movement on the US yen, UJ, coming up here in about an hour and a half. So we'll look for that. Is that right? Yeah, about an hour and a half or so. And we got some pound sterling news coming out here. It's just some medium impact news, nothing too serious, at 4:30. And I've got a couple of ideas that I want to discuss with the pound dollar. The euro, there's a little bit there at 5 a.m. So there's a couple of things today. We might see a little bit of movement happening. Scroll on down through the week. We've got the Euro USD, a ton of news coming out tomorrow for that, so we will probably be checking out a few trades happening in tomorrow that we'll put signals out for. So you can definitely stay tuned for that. That's going to be some good movement that we're going to see there. A little bit more cable for tomorrow. And U.S. crude oil inventories, as always, on Wednesday. And we've got some high impact news here for the euro on Thursday. Canadian dollar a little bit here and there. Some more high impact news for the euro. So we could see some movement on the euro on Thursday. And those are only 45 minutes apart from each other. So we could see some good movement there and some nice levels hit to key off of. And then coming into Friday, at the end of the week here, we have lots of Canadian dollar movement, economic drivers there, and a couple of U.S. news events. And later on in the morning, we've got some pound sterling. Carney's going to get up there and start yakking, and the Bank of Japan governor going to be speaking as well too. So we got a few things happening this week. We could see definitely some good movement on the markets. So we're going to focus in today on Tuesday, and let's see what we got here. So we got the yen coming up here in about an hour, hour and a half. Some news there. We might catch the the start of that during this live session. And We've got the WEF annual meetings, which is all day, which I don't think is going to do too much. I don't think it's going to whipsaw anything too badly. And yeah, some medium impact news for the cable and euro. So let's switch over to the charts quick. Just before I get going, I just want to bring your attention real quick. Make sure you check our website out at f45trading.com, where you'll get free signals for 30 days. Come sign on up. Free for 30 days. You can cancel within 2 weeks of joining if you don't like what you see, but I think you will, because we do a lot of market analysis and we throw a lot of signals out there. Last week alone, we cleared over 150 pips on kind of a so-so week as well too. I think our record pip count per week, I think we've had a couple in the 200s and one into the 3 and one into the 400s per week. So we get some serious signals out there. And what's more is our signals, we do have some that stop us out, there's no question, but we do minimize our losses and we maximize our gains. And so we do have some tips and tricks that you can take advantage of to ensure that you are profitable trading with us. So you can definitely check those out on our website at f45trading.com. We got a lot of helpful videos on there that you can view at your leisure. And on social, make sure you check us out on Instagram at Future45 Trade Signals, same on Twitter. And we also have a Facebook at Future45 Trade Signals as well too. So we're on all the social media platforms. And I also wanted to bring your attention to one other cool little fact here. We just signed up here with Telegram. So what you need to do is you can join our website, and again, free for 30 days, don't pay anything, but you can jump into our chat room, our live chat room, and you can chat live with the analysts on any questions you got on the market, upcoming trades, pending trades, whatever we've put out. Get our thoughts, ideas, and confirmations, and then we've also got a channel that broadcasts the signals from. So you get live, up to the second, instant notification when we put a signal out, so you never have to skip a beat and miss another trade opportunity again. Again, it goes live right to your phone. You set up Telegram as an app on your phone, and away you go. You are in business getting live signals from us. So again, instant access, you won't miss anything. Excuse me, guys, I'm just going to take a quick drink. So, that's the housekeeping business for the day. So, I'm just going to do one more quick little notification, just to make sure that everyone is on the live feed here. In 1 second. Okay, let's rock and roll. So, US dollar index. We have been talking about several levels, and if you've been checking out our live feed, our live trading sessions, you will have probably noticed that we've called some levels out below the market here that we think prices are going to stretch down into. Now, if you kind of jump out here, zoom out, you can kind of see there's a bit of a consolidation level right in here that I believe price is going to trade down and into in the short term, and then I think we could see some rebounding from there. Now we are in a bit of a price consolidation here, as you can see, so I'm just going to get rid of this one level right here because we don't need that. And this blue line here delineates the bottom of this consolidation area. So I think one of two things is going to happen. Again, we could see price just do a real quick pop-up into this shaded area in here, or even this red line I'm kind of looking at as a potential target, which comes in at 90.97. And so anywhere from 90.97 to 91.50. I don't think we're going to get up to 91.50 just because this thing has been so bearish lately. But I do believe these targets below here are the next on the hit list, 88.90. Even 89 big figure would be a big moving target that we're looking at before we see price start to rebound, if at all. I mean, we've got to watch and see. I mean, there's a lot of levels. If you look at the US dollar index, there's a lot of levels down here that I have highlighted and shaded that price could trade down into. So we're going to watch and see what happens once price breaks this 89.90 level. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit and go over to that level right now so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So you can kind of see in here. And I'm just going to zoom in one more time. Where are we? Yep, here we go. So, price, and I guess I could have outlined this one here too. I kind of did at the top of the shade of this box, but basically that old high right there at 89.54, and you could even just call it even number 89.55. That is going to be definitely the first target on the downside. And then we're going to want to wait and see what price does. Now I have 88.90 here because that's just sort of the middle of this consolidating area here. If price wants to break down through there and go lower, then we're going to be looking at down here. But that's kind of the line in the sand that I would be looking at. Ultimately, see price bounce off of this 89.55 level, go run higher, or 88.90, and if price goes below that, then I know we're going to be much bearish. Much bearish. We're going to see a lot more bearishness on the US dollar index from there. So I got those levels marked out, as you can see here. So now it's just kind of a wait and see. We have been trading in this consolidation area for all of last week, and we have not wanted to break through that. And you can actually see here they're starting to create a couple of equal lows, equal low, equal low. And only one time did they run higher to grab the stops above here, and they still haven't gone anywhere. So they're gathering up positions right now. They are going to look at, well, and I've got a couple areas shaded, so what they could do, they could drive it down here and run it up to this red line at 90.97, and we can even come down a little lower. And you know what? I like this level better. 95. I like the round numbers. 90.95. Anywhere into the shaded area here, all the way up to 91.50. So if price wants to do something like this, this is what I would expect. You know, something kind of like this. You know, again, and I don't know how high this is going to want to go up until we see what happens, what price wants to do this week. So it could come into here, somewhere in this area, just running these stops, rejecting, and then coming all the way back down, and then hitting, right, reaching for these lows down here. Or it may want to just come up a little bit more into here, maybe even to the bottom of this consolidation area up here. That's a bit of a stretch, but I mean, it's possible. I mean, if you look at what price has done in the past, I'll just kind of switch out to a 4-hour. So you can see here, price had a deep retracement on it, not so much of a deep retracement, but a nice healthy retracement here where it hit the consolidating area, bounced out towards the end, and again, see what it did here? Created these equal lows in here. Price didn't want to come down and take those out. It had a more of a tendency to run higher, to bounce off of the bottom of this tiny little consolidation in here, and then drop lower. And I think that's kind of what we're going to see, something to this effect right here, where price is trading right now. And just going out just a little bit further, like you can see, you know, up in here, that's what happened here as well too. Price dropped down, consolidating area, consolidated in here, came up, took out the old highs in here, and traded right basically to the low of this small consolidation area here, and then fell off. So kind of looking for the same sort of idea in here again. So without having to beat that horse to death too much, you can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. And lower prices, I believe, are in store for the US dollar index now. Again, just sort of zipping back over to the Forex factory for a real quick second. There's not a whole lot of news on the US dollar index until Wednesday. So, and even that's crude oil inventories. So there's some existing home sales here. So medium impact news for the majority of the week. I don't see a whole lot going on in the USD. Again, some more medium impact news Thursday later in the morning. And then Friday, we get some high impact stuff in here. So what I'm driving at here is we could see this pair consolidate for the rest of the week. It may want to just do what it's doing. So it may just come in here, chop, chop, chop. Tuesday, come up here, maybe take these highs out, fall off, not take these lows, come back up, and just do this for the rest of the week. Friday, it could hit that high impact news events, and that may be what spikes it up into this shaded area here, the lows here, up to here, and then the ensuing drop off from there. So that would be sort of what I'm looking at. And, I could be wrong. Price could just drift higher as well, too, slowly this week. So we're going to wait and see what happens on the dollar index. But right now we're consolidating, so we're not getting real clear signals off of that. So if you're going to go in and trade the, one of the majors, your USD, the pound dollar, you have to look to get your bias from another pair. So that brings me to the Euro GBP cross. So if the Euro GBP is trading down, that means that the pound dollar is gaining strength. And the Euro USD is typically consolidating or dropping. And if the Euro USD is dropping, then the pound dollar is going to be consolidating. So they typically don't have big runs at the same time each day. It's usually one or the other. Sometimes you get some big news drivers. It runs both markets in both directions. For example, the US dollar index, if it has major news, it'll run both. For example, let's say it goes down. Let's say the U.S. index does something like this, while the Euro USD and the pound dollar will both be going up, and that's typically how that happens. But when you get something like this consolidation, where the U.S. dollar index, it's just collecting positions right now, it's not really going anywhere. Again, you get your bias from the crosses, which are the Euro GBP. You figure out which one's stronger, if it's going up, if it's going down. And then you gain your bias for the Euro USD and pound dollar from there. So the Euro USD, the Euro GBP, if it didn't find a level here that I think price could reach to, and then even down, and even maybe down to this low here as a potential area. Get the exact low on here is 86.88. Yeah, that's pretty close to what we'd be looking at there. So what my thoughts are here, this has sort of been, again, this is another pair that's just been consolidating for the longest time. This has been consolidating since September of last year, and it has not wanted to break out of here, minus a sharp rejection here and a rejection there, but it's just been consolidating. But anyway, just kind of going through this, you can kind of see this line I've drawn out right here at 87.43.5. I think that's sort of where price is going to reach to here for the remainder of the week, and maybe even this low here if we get a good rejection. It's come down, and see how I got this dotted line here on these rejection candles right here. Price still hasn't wanted to go lower than that yet. It had a great, nice big black down candle today, but you can see here, price here did not get lower than those two lows. So that kind of has me, suspecting this drop right now. It could be a bit of a false breakdown. Just to scream this thing higher, because you got to look above this. I mean, look where all the liquidity is sitting, right? They haven't come back to take any of the stops above the market since, I mean, look at this. And that was the high, and they haven't been to that level since, when was that candle? October 12th. So if you look at that, the next one, another high here, another high right there, all right, and then another one here. I'm just going to mark these out. just so you can kind of get an idea. And then finally, right there on top of, whoops, you see that? Right there, they came up and just grabbed a little, by a pip or two, and then sunk it. So there's a lot of liquidity resting above here, 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 and here, and especially above here. So right now, you got to think about this. Traders are sitting there looking at this. Well, this thing is probably going to be going down. But again, it's in a consolidating area, and it's at the extreme end of that consolidating area. So you got to watch, because price could bounce from here higher, right? All the traders are sitting here, they're stacking all their stops above here, thinking this thing's going to sink. They see this area down here. You usually have a 2 to 3 drop driver before price rebounds. And that could be the case. There's lots of area down here where price could want to trade down to. But I think for the most part, you got to watch until it clearly breaks out of consolidation, which it did here, right? And then it rejected. So that kind of leads you to believe that maybe they're not looking at necessarily dropping this thing down quite yet before they run the stops above here. So you got to watch out for that. And you can see here, price grabbed this by like two or three pips. The high was 89.23, and high here was 89.28. So they ran that by 5 pips and then rejected it. So again, they could be going for 86.88.5. I've got a small area in here where I think we could see a target hit for the day if price wants to get lower than this dotted line here. I'm just going to drive down to an hourly here so you can kind of see this a little bit better. Maybe I can see it better on a 15-minute chart. So you see here where they've come down, they've dropped price, and it bounced, bounce. They're basically just building up positions below the market for all the long traders, and I think what they're going to do is run down and take those guys out, and I think there's going to be a quick rejection. So anywhere from 87.60 to 87.40 could be target and could be grabbed up, in which case, if we see a rejection at this level, we could look at getting long here and potentially getting some areas. For example, one of the big ones is right back up to this consolidation area here. So I'll just mark that out. So you see this consolidation area here. Sorry guys, I'm just that's what I was looking for. So you can see here, right, we could have potential for price to return up to this consolidation area back in here, and I can let this level a little bit better, just because it's got the lows here, lows here, lows here. So that could be a good sort of first opening target that we could see price come into. Let me just put it on price here. So anyway, what I'm driving at here, I've got another analyst who looks at this pair more specifically, and you'll get a signal. I'm not putting a signal in on this or anything like that. I'm just sort of calling out some levels just because we get our indicators from this, right? So what I mean by this, again, I mentioned it before, if the Euro GBP is going down, the pound dollar is either consolidating or going up, or the Euro USD is either going down or consolidating. So what I'm looking for here, if this comes to fruition and if this is resistance, so if we go back to here and if this level here is resistance, because we see all these levels here, reject, reject, reject. This is a big rejection, so we'd have to wait and see what happens there, because that's about 100 pips. But if we do get a rejection in this area, it'll happen kind of right in here, and price will just stab down, collect the stops, and start running higher, and this would be our first target. So we would be looking, if this is going higher, that means the pound dollar is going to go lower, or it's going to consolidate, or the Euro USD is going to go higher or consolidate. So let's just bounce over to here and let's have a look at what we see here on the Euro USD real quick. So again, higher time frame, I think we've got some area in here to go higher. If not, this consolidation area in there would definitely look good. But I'll be honest with you, I kind of like this up here, to be honest. This level kind of right in this area here. Yeah, we see a little more confluence here. And just mark up some levels here. I kind of like this level here. That could be a potential target. So 135. You know, I don't have to get too precise at this level, but 135.70. And then starting kind of right in this area here, somewhere in there, right? So this is a long ways away, but I'm just trying to give you kind of an idea. If we don't see how prices return right to this consolidation level right here, almost right to the pip, and now we're kind of starting to see a bit of a wick forming on this monthly candle. I want to see what price is going to do. So you can see we came up, we stabbed up to 23.22 and rejected, and then we had an opening candle today that's actually opened higher. So one of two things is going to happen. It's either going to fall back down for the weekly range, right, and be a bearish candle before it gathers up enough strength to go higher up to here, or it's just going to push higher from there. So if we go back to the Euro GBP and just kind of look at this, again, this is trading in a nice big consolidation. Right now, in these consolidations, it kind of looks like a bit of a bear flag, doesn't it? Kind of get one of these guys going in here. Let's switch the color so you can get off of that blue for a little bit. But you can kind of see this a little bit here, huh? Oops. All right. Kind of see what I'm driving at here? This bear flag right here. So typically what happens in these instances, and I don't trade a bear flag, by the way, just so for the record, but when these do happen, you get some pretty explosive moves off of these. This could explode to the downside, but I honestly believe, you know, we're getting lower high. Look, we got the high here, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. I think what they're going to do is they're going to jam this thing, and this is why I think this, because they came down here and grabbed all these stops down here, and I think that's enough just to put everybody who was long on the other side of the market, take their stops, and now the long holders are sitting there thinking, well, what the hell is this thing going to do? I think it's going to jam up to here, take out the stops above here for sure, and then potentially roll over. So again, I don't necessarily trade this bear flag pattern. I think you know, price is going to do one of two things. It's going to roll out. Sorry, 1 second, guys. Price is either going to roll off from here and go lower, or it's going to come up, take the stops, and run down. If it does that, though, if it does go lower from here, it'll lend ideas to the pound dollar going higher. Which, here's the problem. Pound dollar just hit a major area here. So we could see a reversal coming in the pound dollar. If we see a reversal in the pound dollar, it's going to go down, which means the Euro USD is typically going to start screaming up. And again, we're looking for some higher levels in here. But the Euro USD also hit a significant level. We could see a bit of a retracement. So for this week, you know, we could be doing something like this, coming down and then going higher. For the pound dollar, you know, I'm going to switch down to a daily actually on these guys here. We could do something like this. Again, we could be going down, and we could see a deep retracement on here, depending on how high this guy wants to go. But I think what we could see here is this thing pushing a bit higher before that happens. So we're going to have to wait and see. Yeah. Again, looking at the daily, and we've been chopping sideways on the daily here. See this? We hit the high last week, and we failed to take that high out since. There are some market drivers coming in here on the euro, again on some medium impact, but more medium impact news tomorrow. So that's probably when we'll see the Euro USD move. So I don't think there's going to be anything on this pair for London Open or New York today. So we're going to wait and watch for that, but this would be what I'd be looking for. Price to come down to about to 2088 to 2090, bounce, run higher. That'd be what I'd be looking at for there. And then the pound dollar. So I'm going to flip over to a daily. Actually, I'm going to flip into an hourly. So you see what this thing's doing here? It created a couple highs right here. I'll flip over to a 15. You can see this. They created some highs right here. I think what's going to happen before this runs lower, and I think it will run lower, because again, we've had a major area right in here. Okay, we hit that here today. Yeah, we hit that there today at one big figure at 1.4 thousand. So we hit that today. And to zoom in, you can see that right there. The high on that candle is 140025. So we took that high out, but I think what they typically like to do with these is sometimes they like to come back and jam those up twice before they go lower, and that would kind of be our key. I want to see what price does here. If it rejects off of this level here, so 139.68, 139.70, if we come down, so I'm just going to put it out to here. So if we come down, do this here, and then run higher, I want to see what it does above these highs. I basically want to see if price will run up. See, I've got another level marked here, 1.4011. I want to see what price does at that level. If it goes through there, it's going to go higher, I believe. But I think what we may see occur, and again, this could leave for the again for the strength to go down on that on Euro GBP, right? So I'm calling out some levels here. I'm saying price may do this, wick down, and then go higher. So if this goes down, the pound dollar goes up, okay? So that's what I think we may be seeing here and what it may be setting up for in tonight. So I want to watch and see what happens here. And then basically Tuesday creating the high of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday going lower. So that's sort of what I'm looking at here. And the way I'm going to determine if price is going to be going lower this week is if price, see I've got 139.55 here. If price trades lower than 139.55, and I mean the candle doesn't just wick lower and then reject. I mean if price, one of these candles trades lower and closes lower than 139.50, we're coming down here. We're coming down to 138. Big figure for sure, 139 for sure on the week, right? So we're going to come down somewhere into this area in here, I think comfortably, and maybe even grab some of these lows down here. That could be target. See this one low right there? That could be an area we could be stretching for. So I won't know again until what price sort of does here, trading into the start of London Open. And again, going back to, I hate to keep bringing this up, but going back here, we do. If it happens, it'll probably happen right around 4:30 a.m., which is about 4 hours from now. So we're not going to see it during this session, unfortunately, because I am not going to be on that long, and I don't think I'm going to see that. But again, this would be what I'm looking for. Price to come down, reject off of here, run higher, take out the stops by about 5 to 10 pips maybe, and then crunch lower. And I got it marked out here, right, at 140.11. And I want to see it go lower. So that's what I'm going to be looking for the pound dollar. Only because we've had such a nice run up here. I think, and this last candle, especially last week, I mean, that was huge. That was a big candle. This thing is, let me just get a measure on this guy here from tip to tail. Oops. Tip to tail, we are 150 pips. So that's a nice range. And I think, sorry, that's on the daily. I think we could start to see that run out, and like I say, I've got some areas down here that I'm very interested in seeing even. So I want to see some retracement. I don't want to buy it up here. is basically what I'm saying. I think ultimately it probably will go higher. You know, we've got all of these pre-Brexit levels up in here that I'd love to see price come back up to, and it's done a nice bull run. So again, like I don't want to. I'm not suggesting that the pound dollar is going to flip over and go bearish, and start taking out some major significant lows over here. But I'm saying for the rest of this week, I think we could potentially see some lows hit. You know, down to you know, even like I was saying, even into here. You know, 136. That's a bit of a stretch. You know, 300 pips. I don't know if we're going to see that much of a retracement, but for sure, I'd like to see it come down and slam back into the body of this candle before resuming higher. So we'll see what happens. You know, it's price did a great job yesterday trading it, getting all the way up here. So that's why I'm kind of suspecting this rally that they could be seeing the high of the day here and then trading softer. So we'll see. That's what I'm looking at on the pound dollar, and I've spent probably about the past 40 minutes just getting there. So let's move on. The pound yen. I've got a level marked out in here. I don't typically trade this level, but if we are looking at strength in the pound, then we are going to see some strength in this as well too. And you can see here, real nice bullish movement. You know, it was kind of chopping in here, poked its head up a couple times, rejected, came back down, retested the lows, and has since traded through these old highs here. And if we go out to a weekly, you can see now we're starting to, I'm sure you've heard me say this before, but you see this consolidation area. So we're starting to trade back up into these consolidation areas here. And this one actually, just grab the high here. And this one's actually now sort of right coming back up into the middle of this thing. So what I'm suggesting is probably more than likely if price wants to go higher, okay, sorry guys, I'm just figuring out a quick level on the chart here. 158, oh, I'll call it 158 big figure basically. I've got the line marked out here for a reason. I just had to confirm that. So about 300 pips from now, 270, 265 pips from now, I want to see what I think price is going to travel up to that level. Personally, I think we'll probably get up there. We may want to see a bit of a retracement. It's starting to kind of retrace now, so maybe we want to come down, maybe come down to these levels here, maybe a little bit lower, take out this low potentially for the interim and then trade it higher. Or I could just start ripping up there right now. But that would kind of be a nice little target long term that I would see on this pair. So if I were to dial in and look at this on the hourly, that might be a nice level to look at getting long. It's a little big. You know, 60 level kind of thing. Ish. We could see a bit of a bounce here. And again, I'm not targeting anything too high. I mean, I'm not suggesting that it's going to go up to 158 even tonight or anything like that, or during New York. But I would definitely be looking at potentially seeing these highs ran out at 155.30, you know, 155.30, maybe even 155.40, just to kind of convincingly get the orders above market right there. See, everybody here right now is thinking, oh, this thing's falling off, we're going short, so they're stacking all their stops above here, and they could be right. Maybe price won't go back up from there. But I kind of, you know, putting a few levels in here that we, again, just going back with the pound dollar, right, if we do see that initial sort of you know, bit of a drop lower and then it surges higher, I don't know what that thing was doing there, but oh man, right, do one of these and then come lower, that would coincide with the pound yen doing the exact same thing. Just kind of doing a quick push higher up here, run out the stops, and then fall off. So you can kind of see it's starting to look like it might be matriculating back up there. So we'll see how that goes. And then again, I mean, right? So it could do something like this. And this is basically the exact same thing I'm outlining on the pound dollar as well too. Take the highs and then target down here for a little bit of a deeper retracement before going up to that level there. That's sort of what I'm looking at. And these are some nice lows down in here. These would be a great area to key off of to get long on. So we'll wait and see. Again, I'm not going to put up a signal just because the pound news is out so far. I kind of want to see price develop for the next little while on that. But there's not a ton happening there right now. I'm not going to talk about the US daily. I've talked about this one enough, and it's still in the consolidating area. I'm looking at price to go up here potentially, take out these lows before it does. That'd be great. So we'll see what happens there, but I've got the highs and the lows here marked out. Those are both targets depending on the US dollar index. As I mentioned before, depending on how much more weakness we're going to see on the dollar is going to tell us what this is US CAD is going to do. So that we'll be watching this one here, but right now we're trading in a real tight consolidating area, and it's almost impossible to trade into these areas unless you're trading the extremes, as I mentioned before. So you can see you got a confluence up here, and then you got a confluence not even there, I'd say more like right here. Like as price continues to trade in this area, I mean, you can go in and get short here and get long here, and expect price to continue in this consolidation. I don't know how long it's going to continue there for, but you certainly could have done that. And those are decent trades. I mean, you got to look at this thing, and I mean, this is, you know, pip wise. You know, if you were to get short up in here somewhere and target just that blue line, I mean, that's 150 pips. I mean, you could do that all day long. I mean, that's great. You could do that. You could have done it once here. You could have done it once here, once here, once here. This would have been an ugly day. You definitely would have wanted to avoid that because you would have got stopped out there. But if you ran about a 30 pip stop, if you went long, let's say the price came all the way down here and you went long at 20, let's call it 2400 big figure, put a 30 pip stop down here at about, you know, 23, you know, 70-ish. You know, price hasn't got below there since over here. And again, this one day where you don't want to trade. But you could look at a long. I mean, that's 150 pips. That's a nice little weekly range. So again, but price is right in the middle. I'm not looking at anything on the US CAD right now, but I just wanted to kind of bring that to everybody's attention, and kind of show you what we're looking for here. I'm looking for price up here, or to take out these interim lows right here. So I'll watch that pan out. So we talked about the US daily, the euro, the pound dollar, US CAD. I just want to flip the script over actually to the US yen real quickly. There was just a real quick level here that I wanted to discuss. We could be looking at getting in on some long positions here. You can see, and it's a bit of a tough spot where it's trading right now. Again, we're same type of thing as the US CAD, massive consolidation area right here, and so you can see this huge consolidation area. So this is, and we're sort of right in the middle, right at the 50%. This blue line is actually at the 50% level of this consolidation range here. It's not an area where you want to take a trade. However, just discussing a little bit about what the US dollar is going to do potentially could lead us over to the US yen, because we do have some major news coming up for this currency at 1:30. So that's keying off here in about 45 minutes. I want to see what this pair is going to do. We could see a bit of a drive on it, and I'm kind of looking. I'm looking at price either to do one or two things, and I got the levels marked out here. It's either kind of going to want to drop down to 109.20 in this area, maybe stretch to 108.40. That's kind of a big stretch, or reach up to 11200. And so that's kind of what I'm looking at here. But if we see continued weakness in the US dollar, it should drag this currency down along with it. However, with that being said, all right, the US dollar index has been dropping quite a bit, whereas this has not. So the yen pair has been showing a little bit of a strength, kind of like the US CAD sort of thing. So I'm not going to rule out that it's not going to punch higher from here as well. So we're going to see what's, because it's like it's come down, it's wick, rejected, wick, big up candle, wick, traded down twice, and then put another big green candle in, and it actually took out the high. So one of two things are happening. They took out the high just to reject, and then they're going to drop it down, or they're going to want to come back up here, and I'm kind of leaning towards a little bit more of this action happening. So we're going to watch and see what happens, but I want to, one of my analysts is going to be putting a signal out for this. It could get a pop in London, and the London session here, and we'll be looking at putting out a signal during the New York session. So we'll see what happens on this one here. I don't think it's going to necessarily trade up 100 pips in that news session, but we could be looking at a potential trade coming in here pretty soon, trading back into this area, consolidation, seeing price roll over. So we'll see what happens there. But watch first, I would highly suggest, if you're new, and I'll just run through this real quick, jump onto f45trading.com and sign up for free. From there, sign up with our download and log in, create a profile with Telegram. And we have a link on our website that will take you to our Telegram chat room. From there, you'll get access to our Trade Signals channel. And that's exactly where you'll get instant notification when this trade triggers. The UJ. When this trade triggers, you'll get instant notification. So make sure you jump over there, check that out, and sign up for free and check out our services. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. We've as I was saying earlier in the broadcast, we've cleared a lot of pips throughout the weeks and months, past few months. So we're fairly consistent. But sorry guys, I'm a little bit tired too today. It's been a long day, and that's why I think I'm going to wrap this session up a little bit early. Markets are moving a little bit slow right now. There's not a whole lot going on, so I don't want to spend a whole lot of time. But I'm just going to flip over to oil quickly, U.S. crude oil, and prices, again, a little bit of consolidating area. I was hoping I was going to see price drop down to the $62. Excuse me, guys. Apologize. I was hoping price is going to drop down to the 62 range here. Didn't quite do that. It hit down to 62.78, 62.80, and then started rebounding from there. So that could be all the retracement that we're going to get on it, unfortunately. So we had a bit of an interesting market on today. I don't know that. Well, let me put it this way. I want to see 64.30 broken. And then a retest. So this is kind of what I want to see happen. If price wants to do something to this effect here, I'd be looking at getting long, sort of off of those levels. But you got to watch. Price may just reject and then come back down and seek lower prices, maybe seek that 62 price again. So we're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen there. But you can see this area at 63.30. It's been traded to a lot in these areas here. So you kind of got to watch it. You may want to come back down there one more time and then grab it. But I'm just looking at price here. Come down, talking to myself. Come down, hit these lows in here, keyed off a level. Came down lower there. Came down lower. It really hasn't seen a wanting to really show a willingness to come back down lower than those lows there. You see the bodies of these candles are pretty much creating those equal lows at 62.99. 63 basically. I think we could have hit the support on this, and we could see higher prices ensuing from here. And to be honest with you, had I been watching oil about 6 hours ago, I might have even keyed off of this, the high of this candle here. You see how price dropped down right in here. And we could have looked at getting into some longs there. Doesn't show it very well here, but you can see this is what I'm talking about here. But again, it was trading inside of this wick, so a bit suspect. I want to see price convincingly break through this area. So this is what I'd be looking at here. Potentially getting long at 64. I mean, you could get long here, technically. You see how price is sort of chopping and consolidating? You could get long there and put your stop below here. I'm just kind of thinking out loud. It's 63.70. I mean, I wouldn't, you know, that'd be kind of the lowest I'd go. I wouldn't want to see price, because if it's going to come lower, it should start to reject off of these levels in here if it does come lower. So if it wants to come lower, price could want to, so it's basically this low here. I'd want to see price see some willingness to bounce in this area, and then I'd be looking at going long on that. But if and put a stop here, so let's just say, for instance, you know, you went long at 63, basically, let's say you got in right at 64. 64 even. That's a 30 pip stop back down to this guy right here, and you could look at getting long there, and that would be a reasonable area. If price goes lower than here, then we're going to potentially be coming back down into here, into these areas, and maybe back down to 63.30. So it's not necessarily a huge stop out. You know, you minimize your risk, obviously, but I kind of like that actually, and then potentially seeking, you know, my target initially would be this 30 pips right here, 64.30, you know, taking some profits and getting out to see what price wants to do up in here. But you know, you kind of got to be careful, because prices, you know, traded higher, came up, took the stops, traded lower, and ran these, and that's why I was kind of looking at the price coming back down to 62 big figure, maybe even 62.50 would be nice. But this is crude oil, and it has been extremely bearish, as you can, or sorry, bullish, as you can see. So yeah, we could see higher prices right off the get here. So that's kind of what I'd be looking at, and I might even be interested in putting a trade on that myself. But I don't know. I'm not really happy with the way the markets are shaping up so far today. So I'm gonna hold off on that one. But anyways, that's crude oil. Again, that's what I would suggest there. Excuse me. And copper, I've been calling prices lower on copper. I had a whole bunch of levels set up here, and then I adjusted my chart and lost them all. But I basically wasn't looking price to go any lower than here on copper. That was kind of my line in the sand. If it goes lower than this, then we're going to flip our stance to bearish, and price is going to seek prices lower under these lows for sure. So this, I'll just mark out these areas here. So if that's the case, if price breaks the $3 mark, we could be seeing, and I mean, it might reject and rip higher, but I'd be looking at some bearish opportunities if the price got lower than there. As it is, I'm looking a little bit bearish in term right now. I'm kind of expecting the price to do, see how it's just banging off the high of this. It's you know, it dropped down and it's just consolidating. I personally believe that the opportunity to get short was right there. See how that candle stabbed through there and then rejected? I was not in front of the charts when that happened, and that's where I would have got short. Either that one or this nice candle right up in here, how it came in and just kind of stabbed up and rejected. That would have been a nice area to get short in as well. And if I'm lucky, I can get a straight line. Good Lord. God. See how these highs, that price traded down, created a high, came back in, created another high, and then started going lower, and then this candle jammed up there, took all the stops, and now it's trading softer. That would have been a perfect opportunity to get short right there. So I guess to summarize, I'm looking for In the short term, in the next week or two, I'm looking for lower prices on copper, barring that it breaks 3.166 here that I've gotten these highs over here. If price breaks through there, I'm going to be looking at the next level at this 3.06 level here, 3.60060 as my first target, and then my second target would be $3 big figure. And if price wants to go lower than that, again, that I'd be switching to sort of a bearish standpoint for the long term, and we could be looking at lows coming down into here, potentially taking out these lows here, but that's kind of the line in the sand. So we'd be looking for that, but we'll see what happens. I just want to watch it consolidate. Excuse me, guys. Sorry, I can't stop yawning. I want to see what price does here. It's just really consolidating. It's building up orders right now, building up positions, and I think they're going to want to take it lower. Just because I think if they wanted to go higher, they would have done it off of this candle here, maybe this candle. So kind of done a double tap and then pushed higher, but they didn't do it. Price failed here as well too. So that's sort of why this is, I think, a suspect drop down lower. And I think we could see price stab here. I mean, I wish I was watching this thing last Thursday. This was Monday's candle. This was, I'm sorry, Friday, and got short on this. Again, I wasn't in front of the charts and I didn't see it. Unfortunately, I would have got short right there. And we're not talking a ton. You know, let's say I went short off the low of that candle. It's 32, you know, call it 32 big figure. $3.20, and now we're at you know, 31.76. So we're not talking a huge movement there, but that's still nice pips. And then we've been seeking about 100 pips lower down here. So that's what I'm looking at on copper. But price, basically, I'm looking at it to do one of two things. Excuse me, a couple of things. I'm looking at it to do basically this. If it gets down that low, it could only get down to, you know, it may only want to come down to here and do something like that. So that's you know, that's an option as well too. But I'm short-term bearish, long-term bullish on copper. So moving on, sugar I talked about a little bit, real briefly. I was actually, to be honest with you, I was looking to see price sweep these lows here and then continue higher to take out these two equal highs up here. And that's why you don't get long instantly right off of as soon as price hits a level. You got to watch what it does, because it came down here and it closed lower. If this candle just came down and wicked and did not close lower than this low here, I would have been looking at getting in on long positions. But it didn't. So now I'm thinking that this low over here in August could be the next target for sugar. So we could be looking at further bearishness on sugar. And you see price wicked up, rejected, wicked up, rejected. And we had a nice down close candle today. So we're going to watch and see what this thing does here. I don't see any trades on it yet. But we'll see long term here where this thing wants to go. Ultimately, I'd like to see it go higher, but we got to check out the seasonality on this thing and see what it wants to do. And that's actually was what I was going to do on the weekend, but I ended up getting busy. I got one market analysis video out for the website, and I didn't get another one for commodities. I'm going to sit down this week when I get some time, and I'm going to run through all of the commodities. I'm going to call out a bunch of significant levels with them, and put out some ideas of what I'm looking at for some of the commodities. And I just got to line up a couple of key indicators, and you know, some market drivers, some data, some seasonality, and all that fun stuff with the commodities. And I'm going to put out a recommended list of watch lists, so to speak, for them. And then excuse me, and then we could be looking at taking some trades here in the next couple of months, weeks to months on some commodities. So I'll watch for that. Speaking of that, I took a couple of cocoa trades in here. Price wasn't as reactive as what I had expected, but I was calling higher levels on this, and I was actually kind of hoping price would have got up into this consolidation area up in here before it rolled over. But you can see how price jumped up, rejected, and now we're trading back down in this consolidating area here. I'm still looking at higher prices on this, but there's a couple things I got to check out here first before I go higher on it that I'm going to be looking at here when I close this session. But I'm still looking for price to basically come into here and start heading up this way here. That's sort of where I'm looking. And only because it's convincingly broke out of this consolidation area. So you see here where price did this, it basically came down, went down and rejected and came back and then went up here. Now price did technically reject, but you can see here it's failed so far to go down into the full consolidating area. We had a nice up candle here today, so I'm still expecting price to trickle higher on this. And if you look here, it just basically came down. This was the big punch up the other day that I mentioned. Price traded back down to this area of confluence in here, consolidation. And I think it's just gathering up more orders. You can see these wicks in here, and I think it's going to punch higher. That is sort of what I'm looking at for the rest of the week, so we'll watch and see how that pans out. But again, I'm going to do a whole video on cocoa, cotton, sugar, the meats, the grains, all of it. And I'm going to call it some key levels. So you can watch for that. I'll let you know lots of events when that starts to come in, and you can see what my thoughts are on that. Lastly, here I'm just again Bitcoin. You know, it is a little bit tough getting signals off in these areas, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Price is really, really wicky in here, and it's just, I put out a signal last week and we just missed it. It was right here. You can see price here. No, actually, you know what? I don't think that was the signal. Let me just double check the level here. You know, it was. I'm sorry, guys, and it was early last week. So this was Tuesday, Monday, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. That was Tuesday last week. So it was the live trading session last week. And I think I had called price going up to the 12,750, and I put a signal out for that. You can see price just missed it. Like, it just missed it. So I was doing this live trading session at the exact same time that I was doing it tonight, and so we're seeing prices at 8 o'clock GMT. So right around the same time, 6, 7, 8 o'clock GMT. Maybe it was the hour later when it was right in here. I think this was what it was doing. I said I wanted price to break down. No, you know what? Second guessing myself now. It must have been later. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Maybe I put the signal out later. I wanted to see what price had done, and it ended up falling out. And then that's what I did. During the New York session, I put the signal out, and this was the level I was calling for. 12,750. Price just missed it. It just kind of got up there. This is the high of this candle, and like by a few pips. High of this candle came out to just about 12,600, so it just missed it. And then price collapsed off of that. That would have been a nice trade. So what I'm looking at going forward is if price wants to come back, and this is a big level in here. This is a real heavy level and I don't know why. Yes, I do know why. Where are we here? This is the old low, just a little bit lower than this old low right here. Big area of consolidation right there. Price really likes this area, this level right here. You can see price, and going back, you can see price traded down, stabbed down, traded up, back through it, rejected off of that level, meandered around here, came down, traded to it again, and I'm not saying exactly at that level, but price came down, hit it, and then traded above that level, and then now traded down and through it, and it's really been hovering around this 11,100 level right now. Price came down, bounced, came through, traded, messed around in there for a while, went down, up, and just, again, you can see what price did here. So I'd be looking for price to do one more return to this level, and then falling off. And I called out, again, these levels here. So I'm looking for basically 9,000. That would be a pretty good start of a target. That's where I'd be looking for price to go. Next, excuse me, guys. Just had to grab a sip of water there. I'd be looking at price to tag down to the 9,000 level on Bitcoin as a weekly range, as a weekly sort of target. So kind of do one of these. Now, depending on what it wants to do, that's the old low here, And again, just to kind of discuss what Bitcoin is doing just a little bit, you know, this is a big correction. It's not a crash. I discussed this last Thursday. Actually, I discussed this in my Sunday market analysis session for the weekly range. This is not a crash, okay? I showed a crash as the S&P in 2008, 2007, 2008, and I'll just show you what that looks like quickly. That's a crash. You can see here, like that is a significant market downturn and extended, okay? That's not necessarily what we're seeing here. I believe Bitcoin is just into a short-term correction. I think long-term, the rest of the year, it's going to go up, and I think it's going to smash through these 20,000 levels. But for the interim, I believe we still are going to go see some lower prices on this. And I know that's not what a lot of people want to hear, especially when they bought up here, where the majority of you know, retail traders have. Look, you can see how what price is doing here. Like that's just a area that was traded to very, very heavily. There's a lot of people buying in this area here, and the big institutional players came in and smashed price down so they can get that a lot cheaper. They can get all the guys in here who bought in here to sell it back to the banks as price comes down here at a nice discount, and then they're going to just run it higher. That's how market works. So, excuse me. This, for the interim, is where, one second guys. Sorry about that. I just had a frog on my throat there. So I think we are going to see lower prices on Bitcoin, as I just mentioned. And I think the first target we're going to look at is the 9,000. Now, if price smashes through this target, the next level I've got here is this 83.30 level that I think is going to be suspect. And then we're going to watch and see what price does there. Personally, I'd like to see something like this, a big wick down, just a nice wick, and then a rejection, and then a steady, sustained movement higher. You know, none of this shit in here where it just, you know, rejects off of these levels and keeps falling and dropping, or none of this here where it just trades inside of these big bearish candles. I want to see convincing movement upward, and then I want to see these highs here broken. And I'm talking, you know, this is down the road once price hits 83.30. I'd like to see these highs here broken. And then only then I would be looking at potentially looking at getting some longs in on Bitcoin again, depending on what price does down here. Now, sorry, I should rephrase that. This is how I know it's going to be a bullish move, and it's going to start going higher from there when those highs are getting broken. I think if you can get it, and if you see a price trade down here, and again, you got to watch what it does, but if it wants to start rejecting and start ripping higher, that would be a beautiful area to get long. And you know, you don't have to get crazy. I mean, we're not shooting for 20,000 right off the hop, but I would suggest that you know, this would be a good area to look at a reversal, and maybe even short term. I mean, maybe price would just want to stab down here and then trade back into this consolidation area here, and even that, and then pick up a couple of longs there. That would be a nice, you know, couple hundred pips right there. So there are some options, but again, for the rest of this month, for sure, you know, we're going into the last week of trading in January. I believe the last week of January we are going to be hitting these lows down in here. And you can see just off the rejection of the wick, you know, this candle here, you know, it traded down, tried to trade up, could not, rejected, and now we're trading lower. So I think going into Tuesday, you know, New York trading, and then Wednesday, Thursday, I think we're going to start seeing these lows here. That may not be a quick punch, it may just be a slow, steady decline, but I believe that's where we're heading. And so far I've been right. I started calling markets. I didn't call this, you know, move down on the 22nd of December. That one took me by surprise. I wasn't long on Bitcoin or anything like that, but that's how I knew, you know, we started to see some market manipulation. And any rally that ensued after that was suspect. You can see here they drove it back up. People are thinking, oh, it's going back up, I'm getting long, and then they smash the market down. And then they're thinking, oh, great, we see a nice bull candle here, so let's get long, get long, get long, get long, and then they smashed the market down and took out the old lows. So that's exactly what they're doing here, right? They rejected down here, and this was a nice rejection candle, but they failed to take out that low, and that's why I think it's suspect. Again, suspect rally, right? They didn't take out this low. There's liquidity sitting below there. So I think what they're going to do, again, they ran it back up, thinking, and everyone's thinking, oh, okay, this thing's finally going back longer, I'm getting long, getting long, getting long, and then they drop the market again. So I think they're going to keep punishing all those who are going long, and I think they're going to come down, and again, right there. Now, there's other lows. You know, if price goes through this 83.30 level, the next area we're going to be looking at is that low right there. And now we're down into the 5,000 area, and from there, who knows? I would hope it's not going to go lower than that, but you know, you never know. There's a lot of levels down in here where price could trade to, and I'm just going to mark out a couple quick levels here. Price traded back down to the consolidating area, rejected, moved higher, and then there's another one here which we could even see. Yeah, we could see 5,000. I mean, it's potential. Again, that's a big stretch. I'm not calling this right now. I'm just saying that's the potential where it could go. There's a little bit of area in here, some pockets of movement that I think price could want to get to. We won't know any of that until price breaks this big down candle right here, and then this low here at 5,700. So we'll see. But short term, again, just to kind of summarize, wrap up, bearish. 83.30, I think for sure 9,000 is going to get tagged this week, and then we'll watch and see what price does from there. So that's about it. I am wrapping up for the night. It's been about an hour and 14 minutes, give or take, and I'll be honest with you guys, I'm pretty beat today. We will be doing another live session tomorrow. What is going on here? That was weird. My silver chart was going all wonky there. We have got one of my analysts is going to be starting a new live session tomorrow, same time, same place, same YouTube channel, at 12 a.m. New York time, for the start of the London session. Going to be coming on for about an hour, looking for some live trades, looking for hunting for some levels, and hopefully can throw out a few. He's going to do some market analysis as well too, and hopefully he can do a better job than I did this evening. I didn't really find anything for you guys. I apologize. The market's just sort of chopping and going sideways right now. See, like just chop. I mean, it's not really doing a whole lot. I'm calling some levels out here, but I just, you know, I don't know that it's going to get to it right now or anytime soon. So that yen news is out in about 15 minutes, so we could see something there. Look at something on this one to watch, but I'm not going to stick around for 15 minutes to watch that. I'm going to wrap it up here and call it a good night. And again, we have a live session trading going on tomorrow. Same time, same place, 12 a.m. New York for about an hour. We'll be calling out some levels, and you can follow us on Instagram at Future45 Trade Signals. You can follow us on our website where you can get all of our live signals from. Sign up for free for 30 days. Check all that out. Check out the whole website. There's a ton of stuff in there, so much content and great useful information. Make sure you sign up to that. Check that out. You know, our YouTube channel, I mean, we're all over the place. It's not hard to find us. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you know, website, I mean, you name it. We're all over. Just search, you could go on the internet and just search F45 Trading, and you will probably find all of our, or Future 45 Trade Signals. You'll find all of our social media, website, everything else in between. So thank you very much for coming in today. I do appreciate your time, and we've got a live session going on tomorrow again, and then another one Thursday. So we can expect that schedule going forward: Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays live trading sessions for about an hour. So thanks again for joining, guys. Have a great evening, and good luck in the markets tomorrow.